Yeah, welcome to my channel. I'm just going to talk about something very quick and brief, basically. The Oscars already happened a week ago. It's now, there's a little bit of a controversy. That's not to be surprised. I mean, honestly, every Oscars, there's always going to be some form of controversy or something along the lines. I mean, it's to the point where, like, the Oscars, at one point, I mean, the production team will always do something incorrect or wrong in each Oscars. There's always going to be a case. That's always going to be. It's usually not big of a controversy. Sometimes I mean compared to last year, yesterday's was a big one. So like this one, it's more of a case where like our diversity, more inclusiveness, and on such. And that's what's bringing us to this Oscars, the 95th Oscars. That was 2 weeks ago, a week ago, basically. And it's more of a case where like some people are angry. More specifically, um, the South Asian community, or more so the Desi community more than anything else. I mean, we could call South Asians, but more real. It's really Desi community basically, and it's more of a case where like it comes down to the movie RRR basically, and RRR wasn't nominated. Of course, it was a Netflix film. I honestly admit I have not seen the show. I mean, seen the movie on Netflix. I'm looking forward to. I'm not looking forward. I will be looking to watch it. But it's one of those things where one of the songs, Naatu Naatu, was nominated for a Oscar song basically. And usually when it comes to Oscars with songs, they do have some performances for the song usually. And in this case with Naatu Naatu, it was one of the scenes in the movie where you had two Indians basically dancing with a bunch of with front of the British colonialists basically and such. So it's one of those things where I myself, like I said, haven't seen the movie, but it's more of a case of like if you saw the actual um, production, you'll see that basically it was inclusive or more diverse than it normally should have been. I mean, diverse compared to the movie itself. It was more of a case of like almost every race was on there, except for one, which was basically the Desi community. The only people that were Desi were the two singers, essentially. Outside of that, everyone else was not, or the South Asian community. And I think the South Asian community, Desi community, are kind of bring up an uproar. The fact that it's kind of a case where like they're trying to say that the Oscars try to whitewash the number or the performance. But in reality, if you look closely, it wasn't whitewash. They just made it more inclusive and more diverse. And the thing was they were trying to say, well, wait, hold on, why didn't you guys ask any people from the South Asian community? Like there was no inclusiveness of any people from the South Asian community in there, which is true. Which is a bit of a surprise. I mean, one of the things was the Oscars did ask the two lead actors, hey, if they want to be the main characters of the dances. But the problem was is like it was 5 weeks into the show, and they didn't have 5 weeks or something along that lines to learn the dances again, relearn the dances. Of course, more so getting in shape, quite honestly. And that was one of the things. And so others are asking, like, well, they could have asked other people. Well, the thing is, if you look at the two main characters for the movie from the two that actually did the dancing, the resemblance is kind of close to it, essentially, even though they're not. But yeah, I would say that at least they could have included maybe one or two South Asians in the dance number outside of the singers themselves. Of course, they could have included it, and that was one of the things I think it's. I for me not kind of irks me a little bit to the point because like one of them is not really he's not really Asian, South Asian, or Desi for that matter. He's more of I think he's Middle Eastern, if I remember correctly. And I was like, okay, but he's not really Desi. So it's one of those things where you have the persona of South Asians, specifically Desis, either being servants or being to the point of playing. There's only a few roles that they usually play, which is either servants in some movies, some form of terrorist action, narrative, basically. I mean, like, because you kind of Indians do have that brown color, so they kind of can look like essentially a terrorist for those that are maybe Eastern descent and such. It's very rare to find a South Asian in that aspect in the Oscar aspect of things, basically more than anything else. I mean, quite honestly, let's not forget. I mean, there are a lot of South Asians out that are becoming predominantly well known. Like yeah, as far as Mindy Kaling's concerned, uh, uh, yeah, It's unfortunately I'm drawing a blank right now because like it's still too early in the morning for me right now. But yeah, I'm drawing a little blank unfortunately. There's Mindy Kaling, of course. There's the dude from Slumdog Millionaire, and let's not forget in Slumdog Millionaire they performed. There were more Asians in that Oscar at that point. There were a lot of Desi's at that point. I think in this case the Oscars were trying to make it more diverse. So I don't think the Desi community should be in a complete uproar. Like, hey, why wasn't it all South Asians? Why wasn't it all Desis? Honestly, I don't really care, but at least yeah, if they could have included at least maybe one South Asian or one Desi, I mean, sorry, in the actual dance number, that would have been great. Versus Slumdog Millionaire, they had quite a large number of them at that point. And the other Indian songs that were nominated in the prior years, where there was a dance performance from Indians, there was always some Indian or some Desi on there. In this case, there was no Desi in this dance number outside of the singers themselves. I mean, honestly, I think they're probably saying like, why weren't they Indians? But like I said, I'm not overly concerned. I'm thinking it was pretty a good number. I thought it was a pretty good number, quite honestly. And now I think it's more of a case of like you got the Bhangra and the I don't know all the other Indian dance styles. I hate to say it, but I don't know all the Indian dance styles. I mean, at least it's not folk dancing. Basically, this is more like the Bhangra dancing, or Bollywood style dancing more than anything else, which is a lot of the cases. And a lot of people are starting to see that's more becoming more and more mainstream. More specifically, it is becoming more mainstream in the shows, the short form of social media with this TikTok, Snap, Spotlight, as well as YouTube Shorts, as well as Instagram Reels. So it's getting a little bit more, as well as some of the songs are getting. You'll see some of the songs are getting remixed with U.S. based songs or English based songs. So yeah. Um, but yeah, outside of that, I think this I don't think this is a huge issue. There's someone's always going to find issues with something. I mean, the Oscars can only please so many people. You can't please as everyone. It's just like with comedians. There's always going to be a case where a comedian's going to put out a joke, and it's meant for like the majority, not the minority of people that are going to be offended by it or are going to hate it. You're not going to please everyone as an artist or as an artist. Like again with like yeah, music artists, comic artists, actors, they're not going to please everyone. The movies are meant for certain people. It's trying to maintain for mainstream people. Sometimes it's made for niche people, a niche market. So in this case with the Oscars, what they did, I can see what they're trying to do. They're trying to make it more inclusive, more diverse, which is not a problem for me. And I don't think I have an issue with it. It's just I think the one issue is, yeah, you could have at least included maybe just one maybe at least. So honestly, I'm not, you know, crying over this basically, or putting myself in britches or having my britches up in a knacker or whatever, however the phrase is. I forgot what the British term is, but in any case, like I said, yeah, there's been Mindy Kaling, the dude from, like all the Disney actors that have played and gone on to do well stuff like Mindy Kaling. Um, what's his name? I forgot the guy's name from. I can't remember. I can't remember the guy. I can't remember the guy's name. Who's in Slumdog Millionaire? Um, Frito Pinto, of course, was another one. And of course, there's Danny Purdy. There's uh, was it Danny Purdy? Hassan Minaj every now and then. Dev Patel, that was the other guy. Basically, I had to actually go look it up and see it right there. But Dev Patel, and let's not forget Naveen Andrews, of course. Him was and Sendil Ramamurthy. Um, I mean, I only know Sendil Ramamurthy from, of course, Heroes, the movie Heroes. Naveen Andrews, of course, I'm familiar with him from. I think he's more well known from Lost than from British shows. And then, of course, there's Parminder Nagra. She was like in Independent like Beckham and such. And of course Aziz Ansari. I think Mindy Kaling and Aziz made it more mainstream to see Desi's in comedy shows at that point as well too. Frida Pinto, of course, and then of course let's not forget Cal Penn. I mean, I think that was the first. I don't think that was the first, but I think that was the first Desi well known in the comedic aspect of movies. Where he played the typical, stereotypical Indian in Van Wilder, and the Van Wilder National Anthem Van Wilder movies. But of course, he comes in, of course, with the Harold Kumar movies, which was great. And then, of course, there's Manish Dayal in that show and such. And then, of course, Asif Manvi, but he was through. The Daily Show comes off of the Daily Show, but you see him how he is, and then of course the big one. I think that drove a big one after this one that became more and more popular was Kunal Nair. Was a big one as well too from uh, The Big Bang Theory, and then oh, I forgot the dude's name basically. Um, the guy that played in Silicon Valley, and he was in the Marvel movies as well too. Um, the one that became jacked up, I forgot his name, but he was Pakistani, of course. Um, and then, of course, if you got uh, Ben Kingsley, well known, uh, you know, um, and then Irfan Khan, uh, Archie Punjabi, well seen at that point as well too. Um, Naomi Scott. Oh yeah, that's right. I forgot Naomi Scott is. She played, of course, in that movie, Aladdin, the live rendition of it, anyways. Um, Sakina Jaffrey. Um, Aziz Ansari. I was just looking at a quick set of people that were there, and then of course, oh, I forgot his name now. I can't remember his name. Again, it's a little too early for me. I forgot his name. Damn, what the hell is this guy's name? I have to look it up now in Silicon Valley. Uh, Not T.J. Miller. Kamal Nanjani, of course. Yes, he's the other guy, basically. The other Desi, of course, comedian, well known. And then, of course, there's Priyanka Chopra Jones. Honestly, she seems more of an opportunist more than anything else. I think she thinks she's all that. In reality, she's not. Honestly, I don't know what the hype is about her, to be quite honest. But anyways, and then Shreya Rai, of course. Well, who's Shreya Rai, of course. But anyways, to the point. I mean, the Desi community is coming in. I think it's more of a case of like if you start seeing more and more Bollywood-based uh, actors coming into the mainstream Hollywood areas form, like you saw at Slumdog Millionaire. I think it'll start getting, regaining its popularity, and at that point as well too. I mean, honestly, it was good that RRR. I mean, honestly, from what I hear, I haven't seen the movie, but I thought based on some of the shorts that I was seeing that that it was kind of your typical indie movie. Like everything's over exaggerated, like more hyperbolic more than anything else, especially the fight scenes and such. So I mean, honestly, I thought that's what it was, but it looks like based on seeing what everything I'm seeing right now, I think I need to watch the movie basically on Netflix. I know it's on Netflix and such. Why haven't I watched it? I'm like, there's so many other content on Netflix as well as other streaming platforms. I don't have time for that. But in any case, I'll just leave it at that. Quite honestly, I mean, let's be blunt. Basically, I mean, this is one of those things where I don't think this is a case where um, it's something that people should uh, overact with their britches about this. Honestly, it's something that I think let it be. Just let it be. And at that point, honestly, outside of that, I mean, the fact that Naatu Naatu did win, which is pretty good too, in the music category, that's great. So, but in any case, I'll leave it at that. I mean, honestly, it is what it is. Quite honestly, Oscars are always going to be the Oscars. There's always going to be some problem or some issues, whatever it may be, and I'll just leave. That's what it is. But anyways, let me know your thoughts. What do you think about this? Do you think the Oscars screwed up? Do you think there should have been more? Should have been all Desi cast in the dance numbers sequence, or do you think people are just putting trying to just essentially rile others up at that point as well too? Because the fact is like it's a small community, but they're just trying to rile it up to gain some notoriety. Quite honestly, if or whatever it may be. Or do you think it's just all a bunch of hullabaloo at that point as well? So it's just smoke being, it's just smoke being pushed up, basically, or trying to blow smoke up people's booties at that point as well too. But with that, I'll leave it at that. Anyways, leave your comments. Let me know your thoughts about it. Let me, and if you enjoy or don't enjoy this video, please either hit the dislike button or dislike button. It's your concern. And of course, if you haven't subscribed, please subscribe. It would be great. I do appreciate you for subscribing. If you do subscribe, and for those who have subscribed because of this, I do appreciate you and thank you for it. And again, like I said, please leave a comment if you have any comments. And I do read my comments and I do respond to them. With that, I'll leave it at that. Unfiltered, unedited, and unrehearsed. Until next time.